First is about data analysis for small, medium, okay, for small, medium enterprise. All right, so for small, medium enterprise. Okay, so this is actually under the initiative from PGIM and under the program of Knowledge Transfer Program. Now it's series 17 actually, so we have a lot of other series that related to the expert in UTM. So our aim is to bring, meaning that from university to industry. We want to work with industry. We want to, meaning that share some knowledge or do some research together with the industry. Okay, so this is about myself. My name is Sharifah Sakinah Syed Ahmad. Memang asal Melaka. Okay, saya duduk di Pantai Puteri. Right, memang sangat mencintai pantai. Setiap pagi saya akan berjalan ke tepi pantai. Alright, so I take my bachelor and master degree in applied mathematics. Right, in School of Mathematics from USM. And then I continue my PhD in University of Alberta, Canada, in intelligence system, or you can, nowadays you are familiar with the word artificial intelligence. Okay, so during my undergraduate, I learned a lot about applied mathematics. And then I will use all this applied mathematics, statistics, and so on into my PhD level to doing something related to AI or artificial intelligence. Okay, so I think this is about UTM. Okay, UTM is actually in Melaka, so it's quite near to KL, right? So we have two main campus, and then we are more focused on technical university, all right? So if you want to know more detail about UTM, you can just visit our website, and then you can see what we are doing, what the research we are doing, and so on. Okay, so now we come to our topic today. So our topic, the agenda is first about the motivations. Second, we want to know about what is big data, and then big data and advanced analytic in SME. So I just want to share some case study. And then if we have time, we will explain or discuss about the challenges. All right? Okay. So this is actually the data from Department of Statistics Malaysia, right, Dawson? So this data is the recent data about SME performance. I know that there is a very, they're very sad because we have these 2 years of COVID. And then I think if Dawson, Jabatan Statistik or Department of Statistics want to show the statistic for 2020, maybe the performance is more worse compared to 2019. All right. But if you look at here also, we have a slightly, decrease from 2018 to 2019. And actually the best performance is on 2017. Okay, so you can see here the graph here. So SME need to change in order to make this graph going a bit upwards. All right, we need to change. Yeah, I think because if you look at the big company, big industry, they are changing. They are going towards data-driven decision-making in their companies. So SME also need to follow. But yeah, I know there is challenges, but we need to go through the challenges and try our best to at least to improve this to become much better. If we have the data 2020, I think it's become lower a bit. So in this Department of Statistics, they also try to divide the performance based on the industry. So this is actually very good data, right? So that's why every time we want to make a decision, we have to look for the data. So go and see what is the current situation in Malaysia. For example, if you want to increase the performance of your own your own industry or your own small industry. So you need to go through some of the data. So this data is very important to help us to understand what is the current situation for our SME in Malaysia in overall. So from there, we can make predictions what will happen on the current or on the next or future. Okay, so now this is what happened. We can see that from the newspaper, they also mention that the power of analytics and the way forward for SME. So we need to embrace this analytics or data-driven decision making for SME in order to make it, sustain or make it profit for the SME. So we need to move towards the data analytics applications. All right. So now we want to see why this data is very important. Everywhere we go, people talk about data. Data and data. Okay. So now I bring to you one of the statistics. This is also statistic, but not prepared by our DOSM, okay, Department of Statistics. This is prepared by, World, because they are collect our data online. So they get this data. So this is from domo.com. So if you see clearly here, this is actually the data that we produce, okay, all over the world, produce every 1 minute, not 1 day, not 1 month, not 1 year, 1 minute, okay, of a day. So if you look at the normal website that we usually use, Google. So you see here, Google, we have around 5.2 million searches every minute. Okay, so SME can take the opportunity to look into this kind of data that can help them to improve their performance. If you look at this Discord, okay, maybe the last 2 years, we are not familiar with Discord. Now it's actually become familiar and many people are using Discord, all right, to do any, message or to have like an online face-to-face meeting and so on. And then Clubhouse, every minute, 208 rooms. Okay, so you can imagine this is actually the place that we can do a lot of advertisement, especially for SME. Snapchat, 2 million. Okay, 2 million send. And meaning that the operation in Snapchat, Amazon, of course, customer spend, you see, 1 minute, customer spend in Amazon 283K for 1 minute. This is for 6 million people shop in online. Okay, so we are also the person that contribute to this data. But remember, this data is every minute. Okay, this is Strava. If you're familiar with, walking, running, cycling, so you are familiar with Strava. Strava also very popular apps that can share our activities in related to the running or maybe walking and so on. Instacart, right? And then maybe Zoom, Teams, Netflix, YouTube. YouTube is quite familiar. You see, 694K hours. So you can imagine this is for 1 minute. Facebook photo, Facebook views, Instagram, all right, Twitter. So you see here, you can see which one of the place for social media that is more, more people are using Twitter, you see, because it's simple. And then people like to use Twitter, but maybe it's not in Malaysia per se, but in all over the world. Malaysia maybe still like to use Facebook, Instagram, maybe for the youngest. So this is about data that we generate in every minute. So you can see that how important the data. And then by you looking at this data, we can make a very good, insightful information to help our SME. All right. So this is about digital growth in the world. This is actually data that they take for January 2021, very recently. So you can see here, the number of total population, of course, a bit increasing 1%. This is for world populations. And then when we see a unique mobile phone also increase, internet user increase 7.3%. And then if we look at active social media user increase 13.2%. So social media is also very important tools for SME in order to help improve their business. Okay, so in digital, we also can get data about Malaysia. So maybe we can see some of the data related to Malaysia. All right, so this is about Malaysia. Okay, so can you see my screen? Because actually I changed from my presentation to another website. Can you see my screen? Thumbs up, please.
Yes, boleh.
Okay, good. All right, so this is about Malaysian data. Okay, thank you, Azhari. So for Malaysian data, yeah, you can see that here, we have a total around 32.5 millions, okay, populations. So mobile is more compared to the total of population. So you can see here, the percentage is more than 100%. So meaning that maybe some of us have more than one phone with them. And then internet user also, we have quite good 84.2% population, almost nearly 80% of our population, we actually have internet user, right? And then active social media, 86.0% for Malaysian populations. All right, so this data is very good for the SME to study about their customer. Okay, what are their customer? Whether their customer is digital, have a digital in terms of internet penetration and so on. So this is about the population demographic and other key indicators. All right, so this is also good to see more detail. And then this is the total number of people with each age group. Okay, for example, your SME are focused on youth, related to youth. Okay, maybe your product is for youth. So you have to look into this data. Okay, 18 plus, 13 plus. Right, so this is the one that actually the populations, and then you can do a kind of predictions later on. Device owner. Okay, so normally people in Malaysia, they like to use mobile phone. Okay, smartphone, 99.2%. Okay, so this is where we need to penetrate the market by using this kind of devices. And then daily time spent. So you can see that time spent using the internet, all device, 9 hours. Okay, this is not only for entertainment, maybe for working also. All right, 9 hours. This is average. Okay, maybe some of them more than 9 hours. Okay, and then this is related to internet use. If you look at here, it's actually a kind of key indicators related to the internet use. Okay, average time daily, 9 hours. Percentage of user access internet via mobile phone, nearly 100%. Okay, so this is a very good data to help us to understand about our people in Malaysia, because for us, SME, we are focusing on our country, right? And also from this digital, we also can look into other countries also, because they have digital Indonesia, they have digital Thailand and so on. So we can look into the detail. Okay, this is more on the how they use. Okay, this is a kind of, they know that the top website by traffic, okay, by Malaysians. So they look at our top website. So first is of course Google, second YouTube, third is Facebook, Wikipedia, Shopee. You see Shopee number 5. That's why making money here. Malaysia Kini, right? So if you want to choose which one you want to put your item, for example, you want to do like a Facebook ad or you want to do like a advertisement, so you can choose which website to choose. Okay. The star, all right, mobile, Instagram. So normally Maybank is quite high here, and then CIMB, Twitter, Lazada, right? Muda.com. Okay, so this is all the website that is quite popular, meaning that top 20, right? So this is, they give some detail about the age. So if it depends to your who is your customer, so you can look into their age, and then how many percent are looking at this. So very interesting. So we can penetrate the market. All right. So this is more detail about the website. Okay. And then this is quite interesting data. Search from Google, right? The searching is Google Translate. So I assume that Malaysian like to translate things. Okay, good, translate. And then 4D. Why 4D here is very, you know, top 5 actually. And tracking, because they buy a lot of things, so they want to track their goods. All right, so that is also good. And then it's also good, we can see waktu solat here, which is good. Okay, we feel something, wow, all right, good. So meaning that they also search for waktu solat. All right, so this is online search behavior. Okay, and then we have a lot of data, a lot of discussion in this Digital Malaysia. I will not explain in detail, but later you can take my presentation and then you can go through this slide later on. So this is about data. Remember, we want to use data to help to improve the performance of SME. Okay. So when we look into more detail about this topic, okay, so we can see here, data is actually, when we talk about in the Forbes, this is actually quite recent, May 2020. Why small business can longer ignore big data? Okay, normally small business always mention that, okay, they are quite small, all right? So they just ignore, but you cannot ignore nowadays, because data is extremely important. You can see on the previous slide, I mentioned to you that we produce a lot of data, and then that data is very important for us to make decisions. And then remember that big company use big data, right? So we also need to use this data. If not, we cannot, we don't want to compete with the big companies, but at least we use the data in order to improve our own business. Social media is the key for big data. So if you look at Digital Malaysia just now, they mentioned about social media. So many people are using social media. So this is actually the way that you need to use the data from social media in order to get some insightful information about your SME. Okay, and how to improve. And then when you talk about data, how to do it, what is the necessary, what is the what we call that technology that you need to use. Sometimes there are an apps for that. It's not that difficult to collect the data. It's become cheaper right now to collect the data. But you have to understand which data you want to collect, and then it's not that difficult for you to collect all the data, all right? And then big data in today's world. So especially nowadays, when we fall under this kind of COVID-19 pandemic, and now we move to endemic. So actually more of the people now are going to digital. We call it digital transformations, much faster compared to the previous years. So nowadays people are moving towards more digitalized compared to the previous years. So we have a lot of data, and then now digital is become norms. So you have to use this kind of advantage, and then to make sure your company is more on up to date. Okay. All right. Next. So next we want to look into data from diverse sources are consolidated in successive wave of increasing complexity. So this is how we can get some of this is a kind of, if you remember, small data and big data, all right? So for the first one, maybe we have like a small data because, for example, you see here leverage internal and traditional data. Each of the SME have their own data. For example, their customer data, and then they also have the demographic information, they have their product usage, they have also customer profitability. So this is a kind of the traditional data. It's very important. So this data, we call it as a transactional data. And then it's enriched with internal non-traditional data. Okay. For example, historical rescoring, call record, email record, meaning that this data is not directly to your product, but has a relationships. Okay, email record, customer life cycle, stage, and others. Right. And then if we move to more big data, okay, so normally this is a supplement through external traditional data. For example, industry data, okay, government data. This is come from DOSM just now, okay, Department of Statistics. Partners data, okay, that's why now data is very important and quite expensive, because if you want to know what are your competitors and your partners, sometimes you make partners with other SME, so you also have to know their data. All right, so that one you can see that you are moving to the big data, and then you can see the wave. It become the third wave, advanced analytic. You can see the data also become increasing. All right, and then we have also explored external or non-traditional data. This is quite interesting. Non-traditional data, for example, social media. Okay, people say review in the social media, or people sometimes give some comment related to product. So this data is very important for you to understand your customer much better. Or maybe you can also get from company web page. Okay, there is a data over there. Maybe there is a comment, there is a people that sending a message and so on. All right, so this is more on a big data perspective. So actually, if we look in detail, it's not really a lot of challenge if we want to use this kind of analytics to improve SME. Okay. So we start with a small data and then we move into the more big data. For example, we start with the first wave of advanced analytic use cases, meaning that we try to use our own data. And then we move into the second wave. We use the data from non-traditional email record. Okay, and that actually our data also, but not really directly related to the data that we have in the traditional data. For example, product usage, demographic of the customer, and so on. Then we move to more big data. Okay, so here we can see that data analytic for small businesses. Okay, here is why SME must adopt. All right. So why SME must adopt? I have 4 points here. First is actually make smarter and more informed business decision. This is very important. Okay, so by better tracking, visualizing, and understanding business data, you will help make better informed decision about the future of your business. So we will do a kind of predictions, but we are using data, our historical data. So the prediction maybe is more accurate compared to we just look or use intuitive. Okay, just think that, oh, okay, we want to sell this product, but we don't really do our study. Okay, so make sure use the data to understand better. So by looking at the data, you can visualize, you can tracking, and many things you can do. Get a competitive advance over the competitions, right? So an important aspect of small and medium-sized company that seek data solution are those that begin to think like a company based on data driven. Okay, so you need to move. And this way begin to gain advantage over their competitors. All right. So yeah, that's normal. In the business, of course, we have competitors. Okay, it's good to have a competitors because we can have like a kind of compare, or we can balance our how we can balance our process and so on. But make sure we can use the data to improve our own companies, and then we can take the advantage. All right. And number third is save the time and cost. Of course, actually, maybe cost here at the beginning you have to add some cost because you have to have like a proper framework for data driven decision making. But that is just at the beginning. Later you can collect the profit, right? So that's why we mention here save time and cost actually. It can identify where there are lost income and generation of expenses. So by looking at our data, we can see that which product is not really good, which product is good, for example. Or we can look at our customer segmentation. Which customer like to buy our product? What are their background, their demographic, and so on. Okay, so we look at the data in detail, right? And then finally, automation of time-consuming activities. Okay, after we do like a analytic process, so we can do like automations. Some of the process can be transformed into digital representation, so it's much easier to maintain and to do the analytic later on. Okay, so now we move to the unlocking value of operation in SME. So now we move into what is actually big data. We mentioned about big data, we mentioned about analytics, all right? So we know that many SME wrongly believe they are too small for big data, okay, because the word big data. So they mention, no, we are small, because the word small maybe, small and medium enterprise, right? So they always mention they are small. But businesses of any size need big data to succeed. Okay, any size, right? The data provide businesses with actionable insight necessary to become more efficient and profitable. Okay, with the efficiency being key to reduce small businesses' expenses. So this is very important. Okay, that's why the big company is actually put effort to have like their own data scientists to look into this big data. What is the important framework that they can put into their own companies, right? They form a team. So because of this, they want to make sure they're reducing the expenses, all right, and increase the profit. So big data is critical to identifying inefficiency in their operations and consequently resolving these issues. Because we are not just, just mention about the problem, but we provide with the data, we support with the data. Okay. For example, we mentioned that, okay, this product is not very good. Okay, but we don't dig into why it's not very good, because this is the product. You put a lot of money to build the product until at the end stage. So you need to study why it's not very good. Collect all the data that related to that particular product and then study. Then you can see what is the root cause. Okay, for this product become not very good, not very popular, okay, not profitable. So then you can see clearly. Then you can study how I can improve about this product. And then maybe from SME, you can move to more big industry, all right? Because you know the data, you know your market, you do like the study about the market is not only or at the first, for example, at the beginning when you want to introduce your product, but you do it every time. You can have the data for quarterly, or you have the data for 6 months, and then you have the data for 1 year. So you can study based on that particular data. All right, so when we talk about big data, so actually we have around 5 V's here: volumes, variety, velocity, value, and variability. So this is what we call big data. Volume meaning that we have a lot of data, amount of data. Okay. Variety, we have different source of data, not only transactional data inside our Excel file, but we have more other different type of data. For example, social media data. Social media data is a text data. All right. So from text data, we can also understand about our product. And then velocity is about the speed of the data being generated. Okay, this is when, especially for those who are using IoT device, so you can know that the speed is quite, very increasing dramatically. You can take the data every second, every minute. Okay, so you have a lot of data. And then value, okay, the business value of the data collected. So normally we have the data, but we don't really study about the data, so we cannot see the value that brings together with the data. And then variability, the way in which the data can be used and formatted. So this is just a kind of the process. All right, now we move into our advanced analytic. All right, just now we just look into the motivation, why people are, moving to this kind of data science, big data, and so on. So now we look into the advanced analytic. What is actually advanced analytic? So advanced analytic, or we can also mention analytic, use data to drive decision making. Okay, rather than feel gut or institutions. Meaning that, I think that, okay, saya rasa lah kita boleh jual produk ni. Example lah, but I think that we can. No, but you make a decision based on data. Analytic use data to derive insight which drive business action and therefore produce business outcomes. Okay, look at the figure here. So this is what we have traditionally, right? We have our data, right? And then from that data, we try to get the informations from the data, and then we get insight that can be generated with this information. And then finally, we come across the decisions. How we use this insight to make a decision. So this is what we call the traditional way of analysis. Normal way, like when we learn statistics, right? Or when we learned normal process of understanding data. For example, BI, business intelligence. This is more on business intelligence. We have our data and then we look, okay, what is the problem? What is in our data? We learn and so on. But when we talk about advanced analytic, a bit different. What is the difference? First of all, we want to know about our decisions. Okay, you can see here the arrow from the bottom to top. So it's the other way around. Okay, this one from top to bottom. But in advanced analytics, what are decisions we want to make? Okay, for example, what is our target for this product? For this coming product, what is our target? So we already put the target, for example. Or we already put what is our the segment of customer. We know that, okay, we want to sell this product to this range of customer, maybe the age from 25 to 35. So we have the decision for that particular product, right? But it's not really there. From that decision, from that, what is the critical decision that you have? You go into the what is insight do we make to make decision. So what we need in order to make this kind of decision? What information do we need to get this insight? So we already think about, okay, what we need in order to achieve this target. What data must we collect to get the information we want? Okay, this is what we call advanced analytic. It's not like the normal analytic where we have our data and then we study, blah, 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 until we get our decision. But for advanced, it's the other way around, right? So we want, what is our target decision? Then we go to the insight, information, and data. Then we can prove that, yes, this decision is very good because we have all the, we already go through all the process. Okay, so this is actually the level of advanced analytics. All right, so first of all, maybe at the beginning, we just use like a descriptive analytic. We just describe the data. Okay, it's not really, we just want to know what happened. Based on our data, we can know whether our profit is increasing or not. So that one is actually fall under descriptive analytics, right? So this is just to answer what happened. And then we move forward. We have diagnostic analysis. Why did it happen? So we try to understand why it's happened. Why our product is not being used by our customer or by new user. Why we don't have any new user, new customer for this product? So we have the data. So we want to study why did it happen. So we look at for the data related to that product, and then we do our study. And then next we can do a predictive analytic. So what will happen? So we have the historical data, and then what we do, we can do like a forecasting. Okay, maybe the data is for this year, we can predict what we will get, what is our profit for next year, another 6 months. So we can do a kind of prediction based on our historical data. And then the ultimate is actually prescriptive analytic. Okay, this one is how can we make it happen, right? So we have our target. That's why when I mentioned to you advanced analytic, actually on this part, how we can make it happen. So we study in detail how we can make sure I will increase the profit by 2021 January, maybe December. So we bit more detail. All right. So this is actually where we talk about the level of analytics, right? The level of analytics. Okay, so if you look in this, the detail of the level of analytics, so we can see here, analytics 1.0 is just a structured data. Normally we do this on the transactional data and so on. So we just do descriptive analytics. We draw some graph and so on. Make decision making based on the historical data. This is what we do right now, Analytic 1.0. And then we move into big data. Okay, big data meaning that we have like this kind of, just now I mentioned to you 5 V's. The 3 V's is the most important: volume, variety, velocity. And then we have like a structured and unstructured data together. And then we use the concept of machine learning and deep learning. Okay. So next, the ultimate Analytic 3.0 is on the prescriptive level. We optimize the workflow and decision making with prescriptive analytics. So if we look at the previous slide, it's almost the same. This is actually the same. This one is Analytic 1.0. This one 2.0, and then the last one here is actually 3.0. Okay. So this is about the importance of advanced analytic. If you look at this, is actually from 2015. I think if they do another study, 2020, maybe the percentage here much bigger lah, in terms of the, when we talk about digitalization. So you can see here, big data is in software, advanced analytic in process industry, okay? Industry machinery, we have advanced analytic. Discrete manufacturing, also we have cloud technology and digitizations. And then logistic, we also have advanced analytics. So you cannot go away from the advanced analytic. And then now it's much, much higher in terms of the usage of the advanced analytic. Okay, so now is the process of how we can use our advanced analytic, or maybe at the beginning we use our analytic process towards our company. For example, the first one is gather the data. Gather the data, we have internal data and external data. Remember, we have two. Not only focus on our internal data, but we also need to look for our external data. So it can help us to make kind of decision. So next, we have our analytic talents. All right, we have analytic talents to get some general insightful information from the data. Maybe the analytics talent will go through the data and then see whether this data have kind of, relationships or not, or they have like a you can see like the trend of the data and so on. And then we can make use of analytic tools and technology. There are so many tools. So don't worry about the tool. And some of the tool is open source and free. So you just need to have a good talent to help you to come up with this kind of tool. It's not that not that expensive if you have a good talent. So talent is very important. But because I think for SME, the data is not that big, like a very big company that you need to use a very expensive tools, okay, to gather the data and so on. But for small and medium enterprise, I think still not that expensive in terms of the tools. And we have a lot of open source tool that can help also to do the analytics. Find the talent. Talent is very important. All right, so drive actions. So after you have do some analytics, then you can drive action based on the analytics being done by your staff or the analytic talents. So we have like a human action or decision. We make a decision, all right? So automated digital action or event. So this one is a kind of, for example, when we take to sales, so we have like a sales workflow based on the data. So what is the outcome? Because we put some effort on this process, so we need a kind of outcome. Change the management, okay, in terms of communication, in terms of incentive, training, and then this is actually a continuously improve, not only one time. Okay, you need to do continuously to improve the process in SME, especially. Okay, so now we come to our case study. Okay, so I think I have only 10 minutes, right? Hopefully I can finish. So the first one is about understanding business at one glance. Second is inventory management. Third is targeting the right customer at the right time with the right content. Number 4, cross-selling product. Number 5, sentiment analysis. So this is the not only these 5. We have more other kind of application in SME. Okay, so when we talk about business understanding, okay, so if we look at this, today we have access to more data than before. Like what I mentioned previously, data never sleep. Due to this overwhelming multitudes of data, it's extremely difficult for SME to make any sense of this data. So you need to use, for example, Power BI, okay, business intelligence tool like Tableau and Power BI to build like a dashboard to monitor business indicator at a glance. So dashboard is so very important for SME. So you can see your data at one glance, at one place, right? So this is kind of very good case study or first step that you need to do to get some understanding about your business by looking or by tabulate your own data. Sometimes we just look at the data in our Excel, but we don't really tabulate in what we call that in one dashboard. So it's very important to tabulate in one dashboard so you can see the relationship, you can see the trend, you can see which data is very important and so on. Okay, so this is the first one. And then Secondly, what the second case study is about inventory management. All right, so okay, I missed my S here. Stocking the shelf with the right product mix will also enhance SME's revenue while avoiding costs associated with overstocking. So this inventory management is very important. So you need to use your data in order to come up with this kind of inventory management. Not just, use the same, for example, last month you order this, how many goods, but now you order the same, but now you need to look at your data, how the customer buy the product and so on. So then you can see that it's very important to do this inventory management. Then you're not really overstocking. This is actually what happened because one of my PhD students are doing research in SME in Indonesia. So the main problem for some of the SME is overstocking, because they are not talking to each other. They don't have the data. They don't really work with their partners. Okay, so sometimes they overstocking. All right, overstocking. So it's just that way. It depends to the product. Sometimes if the product is food product, so maybe it's a waste. So that's why you need to do your inventory management. And then targeting the right customer. This is very important. Okay, so you can use advanced analytic to do your targeting. Okay, all businesses seek to get the right information to your target audience. Eye level when customers are evaluating the purchase of similar product or services. Okay, but now it is done in practice. So we have clustering. Clustering here, we can do like a cluster customer segmentation. We can do a kind of prediction of customer behavior. We can do collaborative filtering, meaning that we do some recommendations. If you're familiar with Netflix, they do a lot of recommendation to their user. So if we feel that easy for the customer to, find their own movie that they like actually. Because their recommendation engine is very good. So what is actually customer segmentation? They'll try to look into the geographical, demographic, psychographic, behavioral. Okay, so this information is very important to target the right customer at the right time. Okay, so this is actually, if we look at here, opportunity in marketing, the 4 main types of customer segmentation are as follows. Geographic, meaning that the location, the town, the route, the distance from the regions. Demographic, age, gender, income, occupation. Okay, so for example, your product is related to the female university student. So you need to do any advertisement also related to them, and then to, do all the promotion and so on related to them. So it's more specific, okay, more user preference. And then we have number 3 is about the psychographic. Psychographic meaning that personality, life stage, attitudes. Okay. For example, customer who want to buy halal food. So we want to see how is this psychographic informations that can help us to do the customer segmentation. Actually, this one we can get the data from the review, or maybe from the social media, or maybe from forum. Okay, when the people have discussed certain topic, from there we can learn about the psychographic. And then behavioral, loyalty, usage, benefit, method of purchase. Okay, this is very important. Data to be collected also, and then from there we can do like a customer segmentation. All right, so next is cross-selling product. This one is also very important. Another common business object is to enhance the average spend per customer through cross-selling. Okay, this is actually very important, especially when you want to know about whether this customer are willing to buy another product. Okay, for example, they already buy one product from your company, and then or whether they want to buy other product or not. So you need to do some study. This one we call it market basket analysis. All right. For example, we want for unknown benefit of market basket, we want to customize promotions. We want to identify sales influencer. All right. We want to set the right price because we want to give you want to make sure customer also buy the second item or the third item or the fourth item. So you need to study this cross-selling product, and we can improve the storefront assortment. This one is normally in the store especially. So you need to study on this market segment. So this is actually we can use a lot of other tools to help us to understand about market basket analysis. Meaning that when they buy a whole meat, this is the example for analytics. When they buy the whole meat, they also buy vegetables. Right? This is the percentage is maybe the confidence is 38%. Okay, but the highest the confidence much better. So maybe you can look here, the highest maybe tropical fruits. So when people buy whole meal, they also buy tropical fruits. So that's why you need to when you put the item, you can put near to each other, or maybe you can give some promotions. For example, this is where we learn about basket analysis details. Finally, we can use sentiment analysis. Okay, sentiment analysis is actually how we can increase customer engagement and personalize recommendations. Right? So for example, here, this is a kind of the example, your response time is really bad. So we try to study about these words by words based on the customer, and then we want to improve. Okay, not just looking at the information and then ignore, but we need to improve. If we have not many review, maybe we can look at other data that also help how we can improve our customer engagements. All right, and then it's better to do like a personalized recommendation to our customer. Okay, so maybe I think this is my last slide. I give time for question and answer because I think I have more slide. Okay, only 2 slides left. Okay, good. So this is advanced analytic in SME. So we can do like a predictive modeling. Conventional or standard analytic method and technology are built for predictive modeling on small scale, but not for investigation of hundreds and thousands of potential factor and interaction. Okay, this is when we have a lot of different source of data. And then method, maybe this is engineer or people that is standard analytic techniques. Sometimes they don't really know how to improve the process. But when they use this concept of, okay, 3 minit lagi tinggal. Okay, they know the process of this advanced analytic. Remember, it's a bit different. It starts from what are you going to target and then you move to backward. So we can see the gap, okay, the bridge, needed to bridge the gap between analysis and actions. And then the most important thing is about uncover problems. Okay, so we can have a lot of problem that when we look at the data, we can see more insightful information about our problem and also related to our companies. All right, so this is my last slide. Even though we have all the enablers to make Industry 4.0 or data analytic feasible, such as connectivity and so on, but collecting meaningful data and analyzing for implication are still in the biggest challenge. So this is what we call the challenge. So I don't have enough time to detail out the challenge. If we have maybe more time, maybe we can discuss on the challenge itself. There is a challenge, although there are so many benefits by using this data, but there are also a challenge that we need to overcome. But it's okay. The challenge is still can be what we call that can improve the company and then can give some more benefit towards the companies. Okay, I think Ain, I stop here. Saya berhenti dulu di sini. Maybe I take some of the questions.
Okay, sekejap Saya share screen Doktor.
Okay.
Okey, sebelum kita ke ya, terima kasih kepada Dr. Sharifah Sakina di atas webinar tadi. Sebelum kita ke sesi Q&A, peserta diminta scan barcode yang tertera di ruang skrin ataupun pergi ke link yang terdapat di ruangan chat untuk pendaftaran kehadiran dan maklum balas. Okey, ada persoalan tak nak tanya?
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Dengar tak suara?
Dengar.
Doktor nak tanya, just now Doktor mention pasal Power BI dengan Tableau kan untuk buat dashboard. Boleh saya tahu tak mana which one is better between Power BI dengan Tableau?
Actually both have
macam-
their own and for example, okay, when we talk about Power BI is actually under Microsoft. So if you familiar with Microsoft products, so you're familiar with Power BI, easy for you to understand and then to use it lah. Maknanya senang untuk you gunakan sebab dia memang menggunakan Microsoft macam kita biasa guna Excel, something like that. But they have the capability of doing dashboard lah. Maksudnya bila you nak draw something, graph apa semua, dia macam Excel and then you boleh gunakan, you boleh embed dengan you punya Excel file dan sebagainya lah. Okay, Power BI also have their own advantage. In terms of nak guna tu, sometimes ada yang kata Power BI lagi senang Tableau lagi senang compared to Power BI. Something like that lah. They have their pro and cons. And then you tengok juga kat price. Sometimes the price is also quite challenging jugalah untuk certain companies kan untuk dapatkan the produk tu. Sometimes Microsoft is a bit expensive, sama juga Power BI. So you kena tengok dua tu. Kalau tanya saya, is actually at par. It's not really they have their own benefit and also they have also their own limitation. Okay. Tapi kalau you familiar
macam
dengan
sendiri kan,
open source, you pun boleh build. Yes. Ya,
Doktor sendiri kan memang bekerja kat UTM sendiri kan? Boleh saya tahu tak, UTM subscribe tak Tableau? Sebab subscribe juga kan Tableau?
UTM dia tak ya, kita boleh guna sebab kita guna Microsoft 360. Saya guna untuk buat saya punya analytic. Cuma kita tak boleh buat profesional lah. Maksud kita tak boleh share result kita tu kepada orang lain untuk buat dalam bentuk dashboarding. Kita boleh share dalam bentuk PDF. Tapi untuk diri sendiri, kita boleh open daripada kita punya sendirilah kalau ada UTM lah. Maknanya saya boleh buka sendiri. Saya boleh buat semua aktiviti. Tak ada masalah. Cuma saya tak boleh nak share dengan orang lain. Untuk diri sendiri, untuk buat exercise, untuk buat whatever dashboarding, saya boleh. Cuma bila kita nak share file tu, saya tak boleh keluarkan lah. UTM ada tapi di PPK. PPK ada license.
Sama juga macam Power BI lah. Power BI dengan Tableau dia dua sama. Maksudnya dia orang boleh buat laptop sendiri tapi tak boleh share kat orang lain. Macam tu ke?
Yes, macam tu. Kita boleh guna tapi kita nak bila sebab dia kata bila you nak make it profit kan, because bila you share untuk your own, untuk diri sendiri you tengok detail. Bila you nak share dengan customer ke apa ke, maknanya you make it profit. So dia kata you have to buy the license lah. Tapi untuk macam education purpose kita tak perlulah buy license kan. Still boleh buat any dashboarding. Cuma kita kena tunjuk through our machine lah sebab kita kena masukkan ID kita. Something like that.
I see, faham. Okay. Thank you, Doktor.
Okay. Alright, so I see here there is a question from Yung. Ain, saya bacakan
Okay, baik.
What method can we use to make optimization? Can you name few example of tools for analysis? Okay. Alright, for optimizations, if you what we know optimization, whether you want to make it maximum or minimum. That is the basic understanding of optimization. So there are so many methods if you want to use. For example, in mathematical method, they have like a linear programming. That one is more on optimization method. In AI, we have a lot of optimization method in AI. For example, we have like a meta heuristic optimizations. We also have like a evolutionary methods for optimizations, and many more. So many different kind of it depends to your problem, because optimizations, we have like a one objective or two objective, multi-objective. It depends to the problem of your in order to whatever problem that you want to optimize lah, or specifically if you mention about what are the variable, kalau in mathematics lah, we call it variable that you are going to optimize. If you have only one variable, so maybe you can use a lot of other method to optimize this variable, and then we also can have multiple. And then the method, so many method. You can use basic method, mathematical method, or you also can use AI. In AI, we have a lot of optimizations method that can be implemented directly to do the optimization. Okay, but you need to understand clearly lah the algorithms in order to embed with your analytics. Okay, can you name few example of tools? So we have a lot of tools. The best is, for me, I like to use Python for data analysis because you can do like a customizations. But just now I mentioned about Power BI and dashboarding. That is for more focus on dashboarding and easy to use because they already built the custom way how you can do your dashboard. It's much easier. But if you want to do your own, you also can try other, meaning that platform to do your own dashboard. Normally we do using Python or R, okay, R language, Python. And some cases we are using Rapid Miner. That is more on tooling. We also have SAP Analytics but all the tooling, for example, Rapid Miner, SAP Analytics, and Tableau, Power BI, you need to pay for the fee for the license. But if you want to use your open source, so it's freely. And then the resource for that open source is so many because they have a very big community for data science or data analysis. For example, you just Google, you want to find what is the best, meaning that data analysis using Python, you can see a lot of people are sharing their code and so on. It's not that difficult. Okay, is it I answer you, Yong? Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Okay, I think that's all. Any other questions?
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam. Yes.
If I may ask one more or two more questions. First, my question is with regards to continuous improvement or process improvement, which are the best methodology that we can apply in the simplest way or in a very effective short-term effect?
Continuous improvement, meaning that for companies.
For companies, yes.
Okay, so the best methodology maybe you can use like CRISP DM. CRISP DM is more on data mining. Okay, where you can try to, if I can share with you, maybe I can share with you CRISP. You can just Google on CRISP DM. This is kind of framework that is very good for you to understand about what is your problem and how you can improve, and then what is the process. And then from there you can start with business understanding, and then you move into your data preparations. And then after you prepare your data, you can use any model. For example, just now Ayung asked me about optimization, so maybe you can relate the model for optimization. Or maybe for you, you just want to do like a forecasting. You just want to do some forecasting, so you just choose a model that related to forecasting, and then you do some model evaluation, whether this model is very good or not, and then you pass to the part that you deployed your model. That is a kind of the framework that you can use. It's not that, it's quite directly, and then the process is actually easy to follow step by step. We call it as scripts DM framework. Usually this is for data science framework. And then,
I see. Okay.
what is your second question?
Question is, I saw that these slides are sharing a lot of benefits and information that might be useful for us to share with others as well. Is it okay with you if you share with us the slide?
Sure, yes, no problem. It's good to have so many people aware about data actually. That is what my purpose is, because in our business and in our company we have a lot of data, but sometimes we are not really use the data.
Yeah, underutilized.
It's very important to make use of the data in order to make a decision. So actually nowadays we can see that in order to improve our businesses, we need to use our own data. Then we can do a kind of prediction, we can improve the process, so on. Right. So yeah, I'm happy to share. No, don't worry. It's a very meaning that good to know that SME are doing actually data-driven decision making compared to just using intuitive or just say, okay, we want to do this product or do this product, right? Much better.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Doctor. My last question.
Yeah.
With regards to warehousing or logistic, I face a problem whereby we have a lot of stock item where we thought it might be useful for us to use. By the time goes by and due to the pandemic cycle, what's or not, seems like we have a lot of stocking that underutilized, plus apparently getting damaged because of storage. However, in the process that you mentioned just now, what is the best way that we could enhance the warehousing methodology?
Okay, so that's why when I mentioned about the stocking, right, you need to have, for example, because we are not really know about the detail where we can get the information about the customer, about the partners. Maybe other people is actually want that product, but we don't have the information in hand. That is the most meaning that we don't have the information. So how we can search for the information is another things. So that's why when we do like this what we call that just now I mentioned to you regarding the stocking. So if we try to extract the informations, and then we know which is our partners, and then we know the customer in detail, we have all the data, then we can improve the process. I know because of the pandemic, right? So many SMEs are having difficulty. So we need to see this, to start again, and then to look into this data perspective. Okay. So from there you can do better in terms of this kind of stocking. Meaning that you kind of prediction lah before you do. But this time is a kind of very difficult time lah. I agree with you. But if you have like a data and you do some analysis, then you know where is your customer segmentation. Maybe in Malacca or in this area, not many people are going to have that product. Maybe on that other area, who knows? But we don't have the information, something like that. So that's why we need to gather the information together, and then we can do like. So that is what happened in one of my research with my students. We try to look into how we can collaborate the SME together. Okay, how we can use AI to help to collaborate them. Because sometimes they are doing the same product, but they are not collaborating. So this is what happened, overstocking, right? And then maybe in some area is you don't have enough items. So why not we do like this kind of activities? Okay, data, look at the data, and then we can improve the process. But need times to make sure this can happen, because normally we are not really open sometimes. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, nice talking to you. Hopefully we can discuss more detail.
Yep, sure will do.
Yeah. So if you have any concern, you can just email me. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, we also do a short course for data science. We have a short course for data science. And then we also have master in data science in UTEM, specifically on data science, because we know that it's very important topic nowadays. So we have master of data science, and then we also have short courses. So please email me if you want to know more detail. I will give you all the detail regarding the short courses, the master. Okay, email je.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Doktor,
Yeah.
Hai doktor.
saya rasa
Ya.
saja webinar kita pada kali ini.
Okay. Tadi saya dengar macam ada suara orang. Anik ke? Tak ada.
Ya, hai doktor. Nama saya Anik.
Okay.
I
Sekejap
want okay. I want
Ya.
to ask, in your opinion, what are the skills that we need to be ready for to work in data analytics? Considering from our background, such as engineering or other than data analytics, what skills do we need to be ready to work in data analytics?
Okay, if you look
Okay.
at skills, actually data analytics it comes from three different pillars. First is mathematics statistic, one is computer science, the other one is domain expert. Okay, so nowadays, actually my friend in the industry, most of them is not really come from mathematics and statistics. Most of them come from engineer, from accountants, because they have the domain expert. Then they learn about computer science and also mathematics. But mathematics is quite basic. Everybody learn mathematics, statistics, right? For data science, the mathematics and the statistics is not that deep. Okay, it's just like what you learn in, for example, if you mention statistic 101, so something like that. And then mathematics a bit. But for computer science, yeah, you need to know some of the coding, especially if you want to do like visualization, if you want to gather the data and so on. But in some cases, if you go to some companies that already have the team for data scientist team, so you can choose your role. Because data science normally is not only one person, one man show, no. It's like a team. Okay, they have like data engineer, they also have like data architecture, and then they have data scientists, and then they also have domain expert, so they have to work together. Okay, so for you, I think your background is what?
Actually, I'm a ex-student of UTEM. I come from manufacturing engineering.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So actually, it's easy for you to move towards data science because we need a lot of data scientists in manufacturing industry. Okay, because most of the manufacturing they are changed to smart manufacturing. So when they change into smart manufacturing, most of the process is actually being collected in the database, meaning that using computer, right? All is computerized, and then all is actually generated data. So they need more people to understand their data and then to give some insightful informations. So don't worry, Anik, you can learn a lot because at least you have the part that domain expert just now. Remember? 3 parts, domain expert. And then we have the mathematical. And then I know for engineering students, your mathematics is quite strong. So you don't worry too much about the mathematical part, but you need to enhance your skill on the IT part, on the computer science. Okay, for programming. But I know engineering also learn one course related to programming, but you need to enhance a little bit. So when people mention, are you familiar with Python? So you are familiar with Python. And then how you can enhance? You can join short courses and so on. And then there is so many online learning related to this. So don't worry, you can just go through some of the online learning and then join the short courses. Actually, if you contact me in my department, we have many experts that can help. We also do some short courses to help to transition between different domain. So normally it's not only belong to computer science student, data science. It's belong because for our master student now, we have master student from engineering background, we have master student from business, we have also master student from different background. From sciences, from physics, also we have our master student from physics, basic physics, okay? Join us as to become a data scientist. And then during the time she is in the program, she already got the job in DHL. And then the job is actually related to data analytic because our country need a lot of data scientists to help the company to move forward. Okay. Okay, Anik. So try your best. I know you can do it.
Thank you, Doctor, for the information and the encouragement.
Yeah.
Appreciate it very much.
Okay. So I think there is one question. Please, Ain, one question.
Okey, tak apa. Silakan.
Okay. How is the cost portion of implementing data analytic to overall cost? Is huge or how huge is it? Okay. And it depends to your company. Okay. If you have a very, your data is scattered all around the place, you don't have a proper data gathering or you don't have your own data storage and then the data, sometimes the data is not there, that is more difficult in terms of, because you are not preparing the data wise before this. So you need to have like a, IT guy to help you to gather the data and then to put in one place, then we can do like an analytic. If you have all the data in your, for example, you store in your data center or you have your own system, and then it's good because you just need to have extra talent, or maybe if your company have people that actually deal with deal with this data, but maybe they are not really do some some advanced analytics, so you can just upskilling them, send them to courses and then ask them to join some of data science course, right? Then from there you can upskilling your staff to do the data analytics. So in terms of the cost, is not very big. It depends to your company. But if you have your intention is to look into detail about the other data, for example, you want to move forward to look for the outside data, maybe you need to work with the partners, right? And then for social media data, it's not that difficult to get because we can just take it. If you have the talent, I mentioned to you just now, if you have the talent can also help you to gather the data from social media, from any website, because nowadays we can just use web scraping to get the data, and then from the data we can do some analytics to help to improve the customer preference or to improve the company profits. Okay, so when we talk about huge or not, maybe at the beginning, maybe you can discuss with UTEM first, and then maybe we can start to think about how we can help. Okay, because in UTEM also we have a team that can help SME in terms of how we can help, and then we can see whether we can come up with like a university industry grant or something like that. Okay, if we have that kind of, because in UTEM we have industry university grant where we can have like a 50-50 in terms of the collaboration. Okay, for example, company give 10K and then university also give 10K to look into how we can start this data analytics in your company. So we try to study, because before that we need to study how we can look into this process and how we gather the data, because it's not really one process. We need to make it like a cycle, remember? So this cycle is very important to make sure the sustainable of the project. Okay, and next is yeah, thank you. Okay, Doktor, kalau kita ambil master in data science, will it applicable for work in future or it's only applicable for those who are intend to become? No, no, sorry. For example, because I'm also, many people are asking me whether you have talent or not for data science. Okay, but normally for data scientists, it's not the level for undergraduate. For young data scientists, yes. So that's why we need some master level in order for you to go for the the part for data scientist, because data scientist is a managerial part, because we have to make the decisions. Okay, so that's why it's not really when you take master in data science you become a lecturer. No, because nowadays companies is looking forward for data scientists, and then I think the pay is different, because they really want somebody that is really good in analysis the data to help them to improve their process. They have to do that. Although their company is already maybe quite good, but in order to improve and sustain for another 3 to 5 years, so they need to look at the data, because nowadays is very different, right? The economic perspective is very different. You can go through the McKinsey report, you can go through the economic forum, so very interesting. You can also look at detail on that part. In some cases, you can also become like a analyst, data analysis in many of the big companies also. Not really for lecturer. Normally, people, students that take master in data science, they don't want to become a lecturer. They want to learn because they need to use the skill, something like that. Okay. All right. Thank you. So feel free to contact me if you have any other concern about data science. I'm happy to help you, to share the information with you all.